To break them, you have to know them to know that you're breaking them. I don't spend a lot of time questioning myself.
To break the rules, you first have to understand them well enough to know exactly when you are stepping beyond them. And Farrah Fawcett lived much of her life doing just that. She rarely second-guessed herself, and that confidence became both her greatest strength and her greatest challenge. To the world, she was a symbol of beauty, style, and stardom. Yet behind the spotlight, her life was far more complex than most people ever realized. Though she earned multiple Emmy and Golden Globe nominations and became a global sensation in the 1970s through Charlie's Angels and a now legendary poster that reshaped pop culture, much of her real story remained misunderstood. Despite popular belief, her journey through Hollywood was anything but effortless or glamorous, and one of the most puzzling moments of her career involved her controversial exclusion from The Tonight Show, a moment that revealed just how complicated her life truly was. To understand that turning point, we must go back to the beginning. Farrah Fawcett was born on February 2, 1947, in Corpus Christi, Texas, and from an early age, she possessed a natural magnetism that set her apart. Raised by her father James, who worked in the oil industry, and her mother Pauline, a devoted homemaker, Farrah grew up surrounded by encouragement and support. Her love for art and performance surfaced early, and her striking appearance combined with undeniable charm made her stand out wherever she went. As a student, she participated in local performances and beauty events, quickly becoming the center of attention. Even when she attended the University of Texas at Austin, her presence was impossible to ignore, earning her recognition as one of the most admired students on campus. That attention soon reached Hollywood, where talent scouts began to take notice. One agent, David Mirisch, persistently encouraged her to move to Los Angeles. After initially declining, Farrah eventually took the leap in the summer of 1968 at just 21 years old, with her parents' blessing but no guarantee of success. That move changed everything. She was soon signed to a weekly contract, and opportunities quickly followed. Her early career included television commercials for major brands, where her warmth and natural appeal made her instantly recognizable. These appearances opened the door to television roles on popular series of the era, allowing her to transition from modeling into acting. Her resume steadily grew with guest appearances and recurring roles, including working alongside her then-husband Lee Majors, which helped solidify her presence in television. The moment that transformed her into a worldwide icon came in the mid-1970s when a simple yet powerful idea was conceived. A poster featuring Farrah, photographed with minimal preparation and complete authenticity, became a cultural phenomenon. It shattered sales records and turned her into a household name almost overnight. That same period brought her a major film role and, most importantly, the opportunity that defined an era. When producer Aaron Spelling cast her as Jill Monroe in Charlie's Angels, Farrah became an instant superstar. The show's success was unprecedented, and Farrah's charm, confidence, and unmistakable look made her the breakout star. Her hairstyle became a global trend, her image was everywhere, and her popularity reached extraordinary heights. Yet at the peak of that success, Farrah made a decision that shocked Hollywood. After just one season, she chose to leave the show. The move sparked legal disputes, public speculation, and intense scrutiny. Some believed she wanted more creative freedom, others thought personal pressures influenced her choice, and contract disagreements only complicated matters further. Though the decision cost her dearly at the time, Farrah remained determined to redefine herself beyond a single role. Her transition into film was difficult, with early projects receiving harsh criticism and disappointing results. Still, she refused to retreat. Instead, she shifted her focus toward challenging dramatic roles, gradually earning respect for her depth and emotional range. Her performances in television films and stage productions surprised critics and audiences alike, proving she was far more than a pop culture icon. One television role in particular became a defining moment, showcasing her courage in portraying a deeply emotional character and bringing national attention to a serious social issue. That performance earned widespread acclaim and marked a turning point in how she was perceived as an actress. Around this time, Farrah made a rare and candid appearance on The Tonight Show, hoping to explain her choices and reconnect with the public. The interview, however, unfolded awkwardly. Her honesty, combined with visible nerves, clashed with the polished tone audiences expected. Moments of confusion and discomfort left viewers unsettled, and the reaction was swift. The appearance became infamous, and her relationship with the show was quietly severed. It was a stark reminder of how unforgiving fame could be, especially for someone who refused to fit neatly into expectations. Beyond her career, Farrah's personal life was equally complex. Her marriage to Lee Majors placed them among Hollywood's most admired couples, yet demanding schedules and constant pressure eventually drove them apart. Later relationships were intense and emotional, marked by deep affection as well as public struggles. Through it all, Farrah remained fiercely devoted to her son, whose challenges became a lifelong source of concern and heartbreak for her. In the later years of her life, Farrah faced her greatest battle with extraordinary courage. She chose to share her experience publicly, offering hope and awareness to countless others facing similar struggles. Her determination, resilience, and refusal to surrender inspired millions. Even as her health declined, she remained focused on helping others and preserving her legacy. Farrah Fawcett passed away on June 25, 2009, surrounded by loved ones. Her farewell was private, yet her impact was immeasurable. She carefully arranged her legacy, ensuring her son's future care, supporting family members, honoring lifelong friendships, and donating her treasured art collection to the university that shaped her early years. Even after her passing, her story continued to spark conversation, reflection, and admiration. Farrah Fawcett was more than an icon. She redefined how women could be portrayed on screen, balancing strength and femininity without compromise. She proved that reinvention was possible, even when the world resisted it. Her influence extends beyond fashion, television, and film into advocacy, awareness, and resilience. Her life reminds us that true strength lies not in perfection, but in perseverance, authenticity, and the courage to keep moving forward. Her legacy endures, not just in the images and performances that captivated generations, but in the lives she touched and the barriers she quietly broke. Farrah Fawcett's story is one of beauty, determination, and unwavering spirit, and her influence will continue to shape popular culture for years to come. Fame did not slow down after the turbulence of the late 1970s, but for Farrah Fawcett it became something she had to constantly negotiate rather than enjoy. By the early 1980s, the public still saw her as the radiant symbol of a decade, yet behind the scenes she was working relentlessly to reshape how she was perceived. She understood that image could be both a gift and a trap, and she was determined not to let it define her limits. While others expected her to lean into familiarity, Farrah moved in the opposite direction, choosing projects that demanded vulnerability, emotional exposure, and immense courage. Her decision to take on demanding dramatic roles was not accidental. She knew the risk was enormous, but she also understood that staying safe would cost her more in the long run. One of the most pivotal moments of her career came when she accepted a television role that explored the realities of domestic hardship, portraying a woman pushed to her emotional limits. The project was not glamorous, and it did not rely on beauty or charm. Instead, it required raw honesty and emotional endurance. When the film aired, audiences were stunned. Many who had once dismissed her as a surface-level star were forced to reconsider everything they thought they knew about her talent. The performance earned widespread recognition and solidified her transformation from pop icon to serious actress. That success opened new doors, but Farrah did not suddenly find Hollywood welcoming her with open arms. Even as praise increased, skepticism lingered. She was still fighting an industry that struggled to let go of old labels. Determined to push further, she turned to the stage, where there was nowhere to hide and no camera tricks to soften the impact of a performance. In an off-Broadway production, she delivered one of the most intense portrayals of her career. Night after night, she faced packed audiences who left the theater visibly shaken. Critics who had once doubted her abilities were silenced, and her reputation as a serious performer was finally undeniable. As her professional credibility grew, her personal life remained complicated and deeply emotional. Her long and turbulent relationship with actor Ryan O'Neal was marked by passion, conflict, and an undeniable bond that neither could fully sever. They were drawn to each other repeatedly, even when circumstances and pain suggested they should remain apart. Farrah was open about the emotional toll of the relationship, acknowledging both the love and the heartbreak it brought into her life. Despite the challenges, they shared a deep connection, one that endured through years of separation and reconciliation. Motherhood brought Farrah immense joy, but it also introduced a new source of worry. She was fiercely devoted to her son and carried the weight of his struggles deeply. Friends often describe her as protective and endlessly concerned, even when facing her own professional and personal challenges. Her love for her child was unwavering, and it shaped many of her decisions in later years. Loss became an increasingly present theme in Farrah's life. The passing of close family members left wounds that never fully healed. She carried her grief quietly, often choosing privacy over public display. Those closest to her noted that these losses changed her, deepening her empathy and reinforcing her determination to live authentically. Despite the pain, she continued working, advocating, and showing up for others, refusing to let sorrow define her final chapters. In the mid-2000s, Farrah faced the most daunting challenge of her life. Rather than retreating from public view, she chose transparency, sharing her experience in hopes of helping others feel less alone. Her strength during this time inspired admiration across the world. She explored every possible avenue, traveled extensively, and endured grueling treatments with remarkable resolve. Friends who stood by her side witnessed not despair, but fierce determination and a refusal to give up hope. Throughout this period, Farrah remained deeply conscious of the message she was sending. She wanted people to understand that resilience was not about pretending everything was fine, but about continuing forward even when it wasn't. She allowed cameras to document her journey, creating a powerful record of courage, honesty, and humanity. The resulting documentary moved millions, offering an intimate look at a woman who refused to surrender her spirit. Even as her strength was tested daily, Farrah continued to think about her legacy. She made careful decisions about her estate, ensuring her son would be cared for and that the people and institutions she loved would be supported. Her generosity reflected a deep sense of gratitude for the life she had lived and the opportunities she had been given. She also chose to honor her roots, leaving behind a lasting connection to the university that had nurtured her creative passions. When Farrah passed away in 2009, the world paused to remember not just a star, but a woman who had lived boldly and authentically. Tributes poured in from across the entertainment industry and beyond. Fans shared stories of how she had inspired them, not only through her work but through her courage, independence, and refusal to be confined by expectations. Her farewell was intimate and dignified, reflecting her desire for simplicity and sincerity in her final moments. Even after her passing, Farrah's story continued to unfold. Legal disputes and public discussions emerged, reminding the world that life, even at its end, is rarely simple. Yet none of that diminished her impact. If anything, it underscored how deeply intertwined her life had been with the public imagination. Through it all, her contributions to art, culture, and social awareness remained unquestionable. Farrah Fawcett changed the way women were seen on television and in film. She proved that femininity and strength were not opposites, but partners. She showed that reinvention was possible, even when the odds were stacked against you. Her willingness to take risks opened doors for future generations of actresses who wanted to be taken seriously without sacrificing their identity. Beyond entertainment, her openness about personal struggle helped shift conversations around health, resilience, and compassion. She used her visibility not for self-promotion, but to encourage understanding and empathy. In doing so, she transformed her own challenges into a source of strength for others. Today, Farrah Fawcett is remembered not just for an iconic image or a single role, but for a life lived with intention, courage, and authenticity. Her story is a reminder that true legacy is built not on perfection, but on perseverance. She faced criticism, loss, and hardship head-on, and through it all, she remained unmistakably herself. Her influence continues to ripple through popular culture, fashion, performance, and advocacy. New generations discover her work and find inspiration in her journey. She remains a symbol of reinvention, resilience, and the quiet power of staying true to oneself, even when the world demands otherwise. Farrah Fawcett's life was not a fairy tale, but it was profoundly real. It was filled with triumphs and setbacks, love and heartbreak, fame and vulnerability. And in embracing all of it, she left behind something far more enduring than stardom. She left a legacy of courage, authenticity, and the belief that even in the face of adversity, the human spirit can shine brilliantly. By the time Farrah Fawcett entered the final chapter of her life, she had already lived several lifetimes in the public eye. Few people experience fame as intensely or as early as she did, and even fewer survive it with their sense of self intact. What made Farrah different was not just her beauty or talent, but her relentless need to understand who she was beyond the image the world projected onto her. Fame never felt permanent to her. It felt conditional, fragile, and demanding. She understood that admiration could vanish overnight, and that realization stayed with her long after the spotlight softened. In private moments, Farrah was introspective and deeply thoughtful. Friends often describe her as someone who listened more than she spoke, someone who absorbed emotions and carried them quietly. While the public saw confidence, those close to her knew she wrestled with doubt, responsibility, and the pressure of being endlessly visible. She was aware that people believed they knew her, yet she felt profoundly misunderstood. This disconnect shaped many of her choices, pushing her to seek authenticity even when it came at a personal or professional cost. As the entertainment industry evolved, Farrah found herself navigating a world that was no longer built for long-term stardom in the traditional sense. New faces appeared faster than ever, trends shifted rapidly, and attention spans shortened. Yet Farrah refused to chase relevance for its own sake. Instead, she focused on meaningful work, personal growth, and causes that resonated with her values. She believed that longevity came not from staying visible, but from staying honest. One of the lesser-known aspects of Farrah's later years was her commitment to art beyond performance. Painting and collecting became deeply personal pursuits, offering her a sense of peace and control that acting never fully provided. Art allowed her to express emotions she struggled to articulate publicly. It was also a way to reconnect with her roots, reminding her of the creative passion that first drew her toward the arts long before fame complicated everything. Her collection reflected her curiosity, her sensitivity, and her appreciation for bold expression, much like her own life. Farrah also became increasingly protective of her privacy as she aged. While she had once been everywhere, she now chose her appearances carefully. This was not retreat, but intention. She wanted her voice to matter when she used it. When she spoke publicly, it was often to advocate for awareness, compassion, and understanding. She had learned firsthand how easily people could be reduced to headlines, and she resisted that simplification fiercely. Her relationships remained a source of both comfort and turmoil. The bond she shared with Ryan and Neil defied easy explanation. They were drawn together by shared history, mutual understanding, and a connection that endured despite years of conflict and separation. Their relationship existed outside conventional definitions, shaped by intensity rather than stability. While outsiders often judged it harshly, Farrah understood it as something deeply human, flawed, and real. It was neither a fairy tale nor a tragedy, but a reflection of two complicated individuals trying to navigate life together. Motherhood continued to shape Farrah's priorities more than anything else. Her concern for her son never diminished, even as her own challenges mounted. She worried about his future, his well-being, and the world he would inherit. This concern influenced many of her decisions, particularly those involving her finances and legacy. She wanted to ensure that he would have support, structure, and care long after she was gone. This sense of responsibility weighed heavily on her, but it also gave her purpose during moments of uncertainty. As her health struggles intensified, Farrah faced them with remarkable openness. She did not frame her experience as inspirational or heroic. Instead, she spoke honestly about fear, exhaustion, and the emotional toll of prolonged uncertainty. This honesty resonated deeply with people around the world, many of whom saw their own struggles reflected in her vulnerability. She received countless letters from individuals who felt seen and understood because she chose not to hide behind optimism alone. The decision to allow her journey to be documented was not easy. Farrah wrestled with the idea of letting cameras into such a personal space. Ultimately, she chose transparency because she believed it could help others feel less isolated. She wanted people to understand that strength was not about denying pain, but about acknowledging it and continuing forward anyway. The resulting documentary was raw, intimate, and deeply human. It showed moments of determination, frustration, hope, and reflection, offering an unfiltered look at a woman confronting the limits of her own endurance. Behind the scenes, Farrah remained deeply involved in how her story was told. She cared about accuracy, intention, and respect. She wanted the focus to remain on resilience and choice, not spectacle. While controversy later surrounded the final presentation, those closest to her knew that her primary goal had always been to encourage conversation, awareness, and compassion. She wanted her experience to matter beyond herself. As time passed, Farrah became increasingly reflective about her life as a whole. She revisited memories from her childhood in Texas, her early ambitions, and the moment she realized fame would change everything. She acknowledged mistakes without regret, understanding that every choice, even the painful ones, had shaped who she became. She did not romanticize her past, nor did she resent it. Instead, she accepted it as part of a larger journey. She also thought deeply about how she would be remembered. While the world often focused on a single image or era, Farrah hoped people would see the full arc of her life. She wanted to be remembered not just as a symbol, but as a person who grew, struggled, learned, and evolved. This desire influenced how she structured her estate, her donations, and her final public statements. She wanted her legacy to reflect intention rather than impulse. When Farrah passed away in 2009, the response was immediate and global. Tributes came from every corner of the entertainment world and beyond. People remembered where they were when they first saw her on screen, how she influenced fashion, and how she challenged expectations. Others spoke about her courage, her honesty, and the comfort they found in her openness during difficult times. Her passing marked the end of an era, but it also sparked renewed appreciation for the depth of her contributions. In the years that followed, discussions about her legacy continued. Legal disputes and public disagreements occasionally surfaced, reminding the world that even after death, the lives of public figures remain subject to scrutiny. Yet none of this overshadowed what truly mattered. Farrah's impact was already secure. Her work, her advocacy, and her willingness to be vulnerable had left an indelible mark. Culturally, Farrah Fawcett represented a shift. She emerged during a time when women were often confined to narrow roles, yet she pushed against those limitations. She embraced femininity without apology while demanding to be taken seriously as an artist. This balance influenced generations of performers who followed, showing them that they did not have to choose between strength and grace. Her influence extended into fashion, where her natural style and confidence reshaped beauty standards. She made effortlessly aspirational and authenticity fashionable. Even decades later, references to her look continue to appear in modern media, a testament to its lasting power. Beyond aesthetics, Farrah's true contribution lay in her willingness to evolve publicly. She allowed people to witness her transformation from rising star to global icon to serious actress and advocate. This evolution challenged the idea that a person must remain frozen in the role that made them famous. She demonstrated that growth was not only possible, but necessary. Farrah's story also highlighted the emotional cost of fame. She experienced adoration on a massive scale, but also isolation, pressure, and misunderstanding. By speaking openly about these experiences, she helped demystify celebrity culture and humanize those within it. She reminded audiences that public figures are not immune to fear, loss, or self-doubt. Her legacy continues to inspire conversations about resilience, authenticity, and the importance of using one's platform responsibly. She showed that visibility could be a tool for change, not just attention. By choosing honesty over perfection, she created a connection with audiences that transcended generations. Today, Farrah Fawcett is remembered as more than an icon of a specific time. She is remembered as a woman who refused to be confined by expectations, who embraced reinvention, and who faced life's challenges with remarkable courage. Her journey reminds us that true influence is not measured by popularity alone, but by the lives touched and the conversations sparked. Her story continues to resonate because it is deeply human. It speaks to the desire to be seen for who we truly are, to grow beyond our past, and to find meaning even in uncertainty. Farrah Fawcett lived her life openly, bravely, and intentionally, leaving behind a legacy that extends far beyond the screen. In the end, Farrah did not seek to be remembered as flawless. She sought to be remembered as real. And in achieving that, she created something far more enduring than fame. She created a story of resilience, authenticity, and unwavering spirit that continues to inspire long after the spotlight has faded.